Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Lawas. I'm originally from the Philippines, but moved to the United States with my family in 2010. I joined the military when I was 18 as a logistics specialist in the U.S. Army on active duty. I separated from active duty service last year and gained over 9 years of experience in various logistics roles throughout my time in the service. I have a bachelor's of arts in English and pursuing my master's in business administration now with George Mason University while working for full-time as a logistics program analyst in Fort Belvoir here in Virginia. I'm currently taking the semester off to complete this full stack web development coding bootcamp with Savvy Coders. I discovered Savvy Coders when I was looking at different coding boot camps through the VA Vet Tech program. Although I've had a fulfilling career as a logistician, gaining valuable skills and insights through the years in this field, my desire for a career change and in learning something new and completely different, particularly in the tech field, has significantly grown over the past few years, which is why I've decided to try to learn software development through this coding bootcamp. The main tech skills I've learned and most proud of from completing this boot camp over the past few weeks is the ability to create a single page application using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript with tools and technologies such as Jira, GitHub, MongoDB, Render, Node, Netlify, Insomnia, and Visual Studio Code. These tools were essential for project development, and I wouldn't have ever known about these resources and tools if not for this coding bootcamp. We were also taught how to apply the Agile methodology, an iterative and adaptable project management approach, promoting breaking down projects into small iterations, and promoting flexibility and continuous development in projects, which were all essential factors in making the project development process for my capstone efficient. I personally apply the Agile methodology by breaking down my capstone project into iterations through Jira. Just to show you that really quick. So this is the board that I created for my capstone. I created sprints or boards for the different views that I wanted to show on my site. And I assigned myself different tasks on what needed to be done for each of the views. So for example, for the homepage, these are some of the things that I wanted to do there. And I also assigned myself deadlines and on when I wanted to complete them, and just to make myself organized a little bit. And as you can see, all of the views that are completely done or that I'm completely satisfied with are in this portion of the page. And the views that I'm still currently working on or that I still want to add more functionality to are still in progress. And for views that I want to keep working on in the future, they're here in the to-do portion of the board. So for my capstone project, it came from my personal experience in one of my roles when I was still active duty in the military. I served as a site security manager in Manila, and I guess the purpose of my capstone came from the need to address the challenges of managing military ID cards and supporting service members, dependents, and veterans for them to be able to successfully obtain their ID cards. One of the main issues we faced was having to turn away customers who lacked information about ID card eligibility and requirements, and the complications in actually making an appointment with the ID cards office. This experience led me to seek a solution in coming up with a resource for information and guidance to resolve this issue. As the project developed, however, I chose to expand its scope beyond the ID cards office services to create a comprehensive resource serving the broader needs of the military community working, living, and visiting the Philippines. I added information about the Veterans Affairs Office in Manila to my project, which is notably the only VA regional facility that is located overseas or outside of the US. and it serves, they have a lot of services for the veterans who are in the Philippines, and I thought it was worth noting or worth including in my project. The project also includes features that will to assist veterans who may need additional support. And this project has evolved from a personal solution from one of my previous roles into a broader mission to support the military community in the Philippines. So before we started working in on our projects, we were required to create wireframes, diagrams, and a user flow of how we wanted our project to work as far as site experience, user site experience. So these are the project wireframes that I came up with before I started. So we pretty much were just required to envision how we want our site to look like. And as I explained earlier, a little bit earlier, that I just was really focused on the ID cards office section. So pretty much my homepage would have led to views for the different category or different personnel types eligible for these two military ID types, and also a button that shows how to make an appointment and the procedures explaining how to do that. And it would have showed like the address and a picture of the location of where the ID card section is and contact form, all in the homepage. And my views would have been just simply displaying information on requirements and acceptable forms of identification, as you can see here. And it would have also had a frequently asked questions page, which I thought was relevant at that point. Again, as my project has evolved, these were never realized. This vision was never realized. And I'm going to show you in a minute how it looks like now. And as for user flow, I didn't have a user flow initially set up as well because I really didn't know what I could realistically create at that point in the project. So I actually created a user flow when I was almost done with my capstone, or like when I was close to done. And this is what I came up with. So pretty much this is how my project flows, or my site flows. Homepage will have these views, and each view you'll see exactly what it does here. And yeah, so on to my capstone. So this is my capstone project. As you can see, it features a picture of the vibrant Manila and the made up organization that I made as a basis for this project. Who will be assisting the military or veteran community in the Philippines. In this page, I have a nav bar with all of my views for the home, about, the DoD ID page, the VA contact form, appointment form, and a queue that displays my appointment, the data collected in my appointment view. And I also have these interactive boxes here that leads to the key points of my site, which are again the ID card section, the regional VA services section, and the how to make an appointment section. So as you can see, these boxes, initially the contents are hidden, but if you hover over them, then it becomes visible. And that's something I did using different styling techniques with hover and transition and transform in CSS, which I really had fun doing. And I also have this background image page set up through CSS. And here in the homepage, I also have the weather data from Manila and the temperature there. I'm doing that with using a third-party API called Open Weather Map. And in the very bottom of the page, I have my contact information and the organization's information just to show credibility and a way of reaching me. So for the next few views, so these three views are mainly just information. What I like about how these turned out is how I was able to make it modern and user friendly, and how I was able to collapse or be able to like collapse information using again styling with HTML and CSS. I created a class called the accordion and style that so once a user clicks on each section, they're able to collapse and open it back again and making it a user-friendly experience. So for example, if they wanted to hide the portion that they've already done going over, then they can just focus on this block. And I was really happy about how this turned out. And so the about page is pretty much just a history of the organization and US Philippines relations and how that the like and the extent of the military community in the Philippines and how the organization helps. And UODID is just eligibility and requirements for the ID card section and some relevant links that directly goes to the pages that my target population could use, which I think are very convenient, is very convenient part of this section of my page. Also have this, I have a few links here and they all work. And then, so here, same here, I have links, visiting hours. I will show that last portion in a second, but so here in my contact view, I have a simple contact us form. So it has the name, email, phone number, subject, message input fields. And if this form is filled out, it goes directly to the email that I set it up to go to through FormSpree. And just a quick demonstration of how that works. So if I click send email, it sends to FormSpree. And just to show you where that goes here. So this is my FormSpree homepage, and it also goes to my personal email. And if I were to set it up to an email intended just for the site, I would have to pay an additional fee. So I chose not to do that. So here is how it shows in FormSpree. So it pretty much collects the data that we just input through our form in my contact view in my Capstone. So that's that for my Capstone view. And for my appointment view, I have another form, but this time it goes to an API I created through VS Code that I connected through to a database in MongoDB. And just to show you, and it also displays in the queue view in my Capstone, just to show you really quick how that works. So for this form, this is just for users to be able to create an appointment if they were to contact the organization, and they can type their name, location, their category type, if they were a contractor, dependent. So these category types and request types are relevant, are again relevant to the target population the of my site. When you submit appointment request, it displays the request on this page. So the very last entry would go here on the queue page. And this just shows all of the other entries that I've put in using that form just to test it. It also goes to the database that I mentioned earlier in Mongo, just to show you that code really, that portion really quick too. So this is the database that I set up for my capstone in MongoDB. And here, test. So this is where I set it up. And this is how it looks like. So these are the entries that, again, I've entered using that form. And this is all the data that it's collected, and it just stays here. It assigns an object ID and all of this other information here, which I find is cool. And that is that for my appointments page. And the last feature that I want to show is this portion of my VA view. So I was able to use or to call a third-party API, the VA open data API that generates different VA forms. So if a user types in any form keyword, for example, they type in VA, and they click the button, second, loading. So all of the forms from the VA endpoint or database that are available, um, that I am calling through an actual request in my code, will show up in this portion of my form of my site. And to show you here, um, so it actually links to a form, which I find very useful if I were a veteran using this site, and I'm looking for a form and this was a feature. I would find it very convenient. So I'm really happy that I was able to make this work on this view of my project. And that concludes my project. And just to show the parts of my code that I'm really proud of. Um, so the part that I was just showing regarding the third-party API, I was able to do that here. In my index.js form, index.js folder, I'm sorry. All right, so here it is. So using this function, It's in the after render function, and it's in an if statement that if it's in the view page, which where we were in our capstone, in my capstone project. Once the form in this view is filled out, this will, these requests will render in the VA view of my project. And we're using a .git request, and we're processing the third-party API using this API key. We're also storing this information here. My code. And this is also showing the how we're calling the open map weather API through a GET request in Actios. And as you can see, since we're handling multiple routes, we're using a switch view. So here, this is how we're able to see the weather and temperature data in the home page, and using a .get request to call this endpoint, third-party API endpoint, similar to how we're using the API that I created in the queue page, or we're showing it in the queue page through this function. And also, just to show what I talked about earlier with the styling for CSS, I did a lot of hover effects, and also for the collapsible data, this is how I did that with accordion content. So I just added a lot of transition features, or to be able to display and hide a chunk of text in my in some of my views. And that's it. That is what I have. So to summarize my project, my code combines CSS for styling, JavaScript for API requests and data processing, HTML for creating interactive elements like accordions, and forms to create a dynamic and informative web page. And I think I was successfully able to do that with my capstone. I'd like to reflect on my journey from completing this capstone. And I feel like I've made a lot of significant progress from knowing nothing at all in coding, and to be able to complete this project. Looking forward, I have plans to improve this project further. Some features I want to implement is a login and sign up system for a more personalized user experience for my target population, which will feature more services, hopefully other than DoD and VA assistance. I'm also excited I'm also considering integrating another VA, Veterans Affairs Open Data API for facility information. So it would include like a VA facility locator portion in my VA view, similar to how my VA form locator worked. It would also locate different VA facilities, not just in the Philippines, but outside of it, anywhere with a VA facility. And This capstone project is not the end, but a starting point for further exploration for me and growth in the coding world. And I'm excited to continue learning and evolving in this project. And I'm curious to see where this coding journey will lead me to. In conclusion, I wrap up my capstone project presentation. Thank you for listening, and I look forward for the road ahead. And please let me know if you have any questions or concerns about the project. Thank you so much again.